seem to have multiple copies of a fantastic new literary RPG. Whatever will I do with the second copy? Tune in to the end of the review to find out. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is going to be the first review here on the channel in a hot minute for none other than Darktown by Palmer Pickering. This book is a fantasy-filled adventure perfect for seasoned veterans and newcomers to the lit RPG subgenre, and it was just so much fun. We start in the quiet town of Haverley Arms, but it isn't quite what it seems. Underneath the cozy taverns of this quaint little village lies the entrance to one of the most revered games this side of fantasy, the Dragon's Game, a wondrously immersive world of dungeons and dangers, and this is just level 1. After years of wanting to explore the game just like her father and brothers, it's time for Temerity and her hobgoblin friend Half Pint to travel into the portal to see what it's all about. Welcome to level 1. Darktown. Now, it's no secret I absolutely adored this game. As someone who's relatively new to the subgenre of literary RPGs and really enjoyed them in the past, I had a great time with this. It was so fun, and it's one of those books that just brought me genuine feelings of joy as I followed our characters, Temerity and Half Pint, through the various obstacles that the dungeons threw in their way. The tagline for this book sells it better than I ever could. Part cozy, part bloody, all the fun, and that's exactly what it is. There are so many things to like about this story, from extensive world building and foreshadowing for future entries, right through to the incredible banter that happens between the characters. It all flowed so naturally. Not to mention the experience of just reading this book. This book is riddled with fantastic artwork by various authors. I'll put some on the screen here as we go through, really creating such an immersive feel. How cool is that? And you can see all the little darker lines in this. Every single one of those is a piece of gorgeous artwork to make this experience something absolutely incredible as you work your way through. Palmer has created a world which just sucks you in deep, and it makes you feel like you are standing on the cobbled streets full of mystery and wonder as you enter through the town. In Darktown, there are two choices. You can either play the inns or you can run the alleys. Both options have pros and cons, and while you're doing one, you desperately want to be doing the other just to see what is on the other side. But don't worry, we as the reader, we get to see both. This world is so vivid, it's so full of life, and it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of. Palmer Pickering is the queen of descriptive imagery, not to mention the artwork, that just really makes you feel like you're playing this game yourself. But it doesn't stop there at the imagery. This book goes so much deeper. There is an incredible amount of lore built up as we run through the Dragon's Game, as our characters discover new gear and weaponry, powers, and the rules that seem to change on them all the time, which leads me to one of my biggest praises of this story, which is the foreshadowing that comes for the sequels that are coming our way. Like many literary RPGs or even progression fantasy, we have things like leveling and power-ups and crafting, those game elements that we've come to know and love of the subgenre, and it makes it so entertaining as we go through, and Darktown is no exception to this. The reader learns with Temerity and a number of other characters as they come and they go throughout the first level. We have multiple levels, there are multiple games, and there are a multitude of ways where things can be beaten, or they in turn can also be beaten. The anticipation build-up in Darktown, even at a first book level, is done so strategically that I couldn't help but want the next book immediately after putting this one down. This has also been done without letting the reader get lost in things like stats and levels, which has happened with me in the past where I've been taken out of that particular reading experience because of all the numbers. Darktown doesn't do that. It just made me want more and more of the story and the world. The character work that we had in here is also excellent, and that is not just talking about our main characters, Temerity and Half Pint, who really take the stage in this particular book. We also have a bunch of NPCs or eccentric side characters that we come across, and each of them have their own quirks that just make them unique to this world, and very much like what you would experience if you're playing something like a Dragon Age game where you're going into different inns and you're seeing different people that you're having to interact with. It felt like I was playing a game, and I loved it so much. In this book, we had things like snake charmers, we had fellow travelers, we had innkeepers that accepted things only in trade. Every character had their own charming or not so charming personality, and it made themselves known. I do have to throw it to our two protagonists, Temerity and Half Pint, because they're an unlikely duo and they hold a lot of respect for each other. They've grown up together, and you can definitely tell that there's that familial camaraderie as we go through the book. It was pretty prevalent even when they were like dodging murderous trolls. I thought that was really fun. The last thing I'll mention before we go into the, yes, giveaway, you guessed it, of the second copy that I have is the experience of reading the book itself. I mentioned the artwork, but it really does enhance everything about this book. It was just brilliant. The amount of art in this book, particularly for someone who, I am a visual reader, but there are a lot of people out there who aren't. People who are not visual readers are going to be able to live in this world just as much as a visual reader can. And I think that is so fantastic. It was such a treat visually to get all of that art. And I don't know, it made this a reading experience. It made this a reading experience like no other for me. And the pacing also matched that intensity, the banter matched the cozy, and the pictures matched the scenes that we were experiencing, making it a wonderful overall experience. I can't recommend this one highly enough. If you're someone who likes cozy, if you're someone who likes dark fantasy, it has the best of both worlds. So go out and grab a copy of Darktown at your earliest convenience, or so. I just told you to go and buy a copy, but what am I going to do with this second copy? Let's give it away. I'm going to be opening up an international giveaway for Darktown by Palmer Pickering. You just heard me rave about it. I had a really good time with it, and I'd love for somebody else to get that experience. It is full of all the artwork that we mentioned as well. Let's see if we can find a new one for you. Gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. But I need you to do something for me. If you want to enter to win a copy of Darktown, please go ahead and like the video, but also I want you to pick your own jewel. In Darktown, or in the Dragons game, there are many jewels which will enhance certain abilities, and there are 6 to choose from. We have red, which is strength and skill, blue, which is warding and deflection, orange for premonition and perception, green for healing and resurrection, yellow for charming and manipulation, or white, intelligence and knowledge. What jewel would you choose to be your dominant power if you were in Darktown? Let me know in the comments down below. This international giveaway will be open for the next month. So for the next 4 weeks, I'll be accepting answers. Depending on how many we get here, I may also open this up over on Instagram or Twitter, like I said, depending on the amount of interest that we get here, but it is open internationally. If you like the content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.